Hi everybody, welcome back. Mr. Ducharme here again. Today is week 2, module 3, chemical formulas of mixtures. So today we're going to take it one step further than we did last lesson. We're going to be writing out chemical formulas, but instead of just focusing on elements and compounds, we're going to be looking at what happens if it's a mixture. So today you'll be able to develop and use a key to create a model of a mixture using a chemical formula. Before we get started, great responses from the joke of the week. I put this up on our first lesson this week. A lot of folks emailed me the answers. Shout out to those who did. So what does a chemist's dog do with their bones? They bury them. Barium is the element. It's the 56th element in the periodic table. I can hear your groans through time and space. Just deal with it. They're hilarious. They'll get better. Check back again next week for our next one. Let's get started. In your Explore today, you compared a compound with the formula C2H6 in this model, where everything's connected together. Remember, that's what a compound is. And a mixture, 2C plus 3H2. We have 2C, so two separate carbons, and then we have 3 molecules of H2, of 2 hydrogens stuck together. So there's total 2 carbons and 6 hydrogens in both chemical formulas, but notice the difference between them being all together as one compound and then being separated as a mixture. We're going to be learning in our notes today what those symbols mean. So go ahead and follow in on your guided instruction with me. So if elements are written without a space in between, their atoms are bonded or connected. So if there's no space, that means they're bonded and connected as a compound. In the Explorer, that would be C2H6. All written together means they're all part of one compound. A plus symbol in between indicates that the items on either side are not bonded to each other, but they're still in the same space, which is an easy hint that the formula represents a mixture. Once again, the plus between our 2C and 3H2 tells us they're in the same space, but they're not bonded to each other. So it is a mixture. Take a moment and pause if you need more time with the notes. I do want to say, you're going to see the reason why we spent so much time on modeling and learning about chemical formulas when we get started with chemical equations next week. Let's go ahead and dive into some guided practice. All right, guided practice. It's going to look similar compared to yesterday. However, there's going to be now mixtures that we're going to be analyzing instead. So use the model to write the chemical formula for the element, compound, or mixture. So we have to fill in our chemical formula. We have to decide if this is an element, compound, or mixture. I gave you the model. I gave you the key, told you what the symbols are, and then we still have to count up the total number of each atom, or each type of element. So let's go ahead and start over here with our chemical formula. In our model, I see that there's a compound made up of 2 triangles, so 2 iron atoms, and 1 sulfur atom. So let's just start by writing that out, just like we did yesterday. The symbol for iron is Fe, so we have Fe2S. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that 2 and change it into a subscript. And remember, my coefficient is going to be blank, which means there's 1 molecule. I only have 1 molecule that looks like this. But now I have a second thing going on in here. I have 2 sulfurs attached to each other. So now I need to put plus, and then I'm going to put S2, which tells me it's 2 sulfurs attached to each other. Once again, I'm going to go to Format and change that to a subscript. So I have Fe2S, that's this guy, plus S2, this guy. That is my chemical formula. Element, compound, or mixture, well, remember, 2 separate things in the same space would be a mixture. Also, the plus symbol is going to be a clue there. So let's write in mixture. And then we just have to go over and count up the total number of iron atoms. So I can either count using my model, or I can use my chemical formula. I'm going to use my chemical formula today. So Fe2, so that means there's 2 irons. It looks like that's the only place where we have iron. So 2 total. Now sulfur is a little bit trickier. I have Fe2S, so there's 1 sulfur there, plus S2. So S2 means there's 2 more. So 1 plus 2 is 3 sulfurs altogether. The next question is a slightly different version of the same skills you've been doing. This time I gave you a chemical formula. I want you to figure out if it's an element, compound, or mixture, and I didn't give you the key. Wait, but how am I supposed to know if I didn't give you the key? Well, let's look over here. I gave you the model and the chemical formula. Those two pieces of information should allow you to work backwards. So the chemical formula is H2 plus 2NH3. And I need to figure out what the circle not shaded in represents and what the circle shaded in represents. So let's start with H2. So that should be 2 hydrogens bonded to each other. Looking over here, looks like the only thing that has 2 things bonded to each other are these 2 dark circles. So that tells me this has to be H, or hydrogen. Well, that means the circle that's not shaded in, well, it's one of those attached to 3 hydrogens. So I've got 2 molecules of one of these attached to 3 hydrogens. Let's look at our chemical formula. Well, a nitrogen is attached to 3 hydrogens, and I've got 2 molecules of that. So this must be nitrogen. Now, is this an element, compound, or mixture? Well, we've got 2 separate things in the same space, so it is a mixture. You're going to see problems like this where you have to work backwards now. It's using the exact same skills that you've done before, but I wanted to give you a practice where we walk through how to do that thinking together. All right, moving on to question number 3. Write the chemical formulas for each of the following descriptions. A mixture, okay, that's a clue, of 2 hydrogen atoms bonded together and 2 oxygen atoms bonded together. Okay, so we have a mixture. So we know there's going to be a plus symbol somewhere in here. 2 hydrogen atoms bonded together would be H2. I'm going to go ahead and actually, I'm going to write my plus first. That'll make it easier. And then I'm going to highlight the 2. Go up to format, change that to a subscript. So H2 plus, now I have 2 oxygen atoms bonded together, so that is going to be O2. Do a quick double check that it makes sense. A mixture, okay, I got my plus, so this is a mixture. 2 hydrogen atoms bonded together, yep. And 2 oxygen atoms bonded together. All right, looks good. Let's move on to the next word problem. 2 molecules of a compound. Okay, so 2 molecules of a compound made up of 2 hydrogen atoms bonded to 1 oxygen atom. I'm just going to pause there. I'm not going to read the whole sentence. I'm going to do this one step at a time. So 2 molecules, I started by writing a coefficient of 2, made up of 2 hydrogen atoms bonded to 1 oxygen atom. So that's H2O. Got to change this 2 into a subscript. Mixed with, tells me there's going to be a plus, 1 molecule of 2 oxygen atoms bonded together. Once again, we have O2. So I should end up with 2H2O plus O2. Go ahead and move on to check for understanding. I want you to go ahead and pause the video for as much time as you need to get all the answers. Remember, the importance of you doing it by yourself is getting that practice first so you can make sure you know how to do this. It doesn't do you any good just to look through the answer key before you're ready. Give yourself an honest shot to see how well you're doing with these skills. Okay, at this point, we're going to go through the check for understanding. The first question asks you to work backwards from a model and a key to figure out the chemical formula. Well, using this model, you should have figured out the chemical formula was 2SC2 plus C2. Now, quick note in terms of grading. If you put 2C2S plus C2, that's correct. Once again, I told you this a couple lessons ago. It does not matter the order for now, which element you put first, as long as you wrote them all as one compound, that is correct. You could have also written the C2 first. So it could have been C2 plus 2SC2. That's totally fine as well. The order in a mixture does not matter either. That's 1 point if you got that right. Total of 2 sulfur atoms and a total of 6 carbon atoms. Give yourselves a point for each of those. And then down below, the word problem, 2 molecules of 1 carbon and 4 hydrogen atoms mixed with 1 molecule of a compound made with 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogen atoms. Should be 2CH4 plus NH3. Just like I said before, order doesn't matter, and doesn't matter which compound you put first. Total out of 4 points, give yourself a score, and then move on to your independent practice. And don't forget to take the mastery check today, which is 2.3 chemical formulas of mixtures. Like always, please make sure you're attending your science block online to get support from your teacher. These skills are going to keep adding up. So if you're feeling stuck or lost, or even just want to make sure you're doing the independent practice correctly, you got to make sure you check with your teacher. You got to make sure you check those answer keys that I make every lesson. Okay. Keep working hard, y'all, and stay safe out there.